الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إلهنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين روحي وأرواحنا وأرواح العالمين له الفداء واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أعداء الله من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. قال الله الحكيم في القرآن الكريم وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Before I go to our topic that we started in the last 3 nights, because they mentioned there's a class for children in the back, I just want to mention that Alhamdulillah, a lot of our youth are getting married and they have children as well. They start having children. So we will inshallah see more young children coming to our majalis, especially at Yasin. So there is advice for both sides. So the advice for the one who are participating in these programs is that when we see somebody brings their children and maybe the child is too young to understand sometimes following what the parents want, inshallah, deal with them with patience and staying away from, God forbid, maybe forcing them to think twice before bringing their kids the coming night. Because ultimately we want them to be part of these programs from the young age. And if we somehow say because we want to listen to the Sheikh's lecture and it's distracting, we will sometimes force them to stay home in order to, avoid bringing kids. A lot of them don't have anyone to leave their children with, and sometimes I don't even encourage that. So inshallah, be patient. It's okay. As a speaker, I will be patient myself. I'll do my best. But at the same time, as audience, inshallah, give them some time to adjust, especially the newcomers. And advice for the parents is that when we bring young children, remember that, as other people came all the way to take advantage of the majalis, so try our best to, teach our children and eventually, gradually help them understand the etiquette of coming to the programs. So we do our responsibility to the best of our ability, inshallah. And as audience, inshallah, we try to deal with patience and that grace, inshallah, for the health and well-being of all of the young children who are coming to these majalis here and everywhere in the world. And may Allah, inshallah, help them to be raised with the love of Hussein, alayhi salam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So in the last 3 nights, it's more of an analysis of one statement, one name in Holy Quran regarding Day of Judgment. When it comes to the life after death, 1/3 of Quran is a description of what will happen, because it's one of those areas in our life that we don't know exactly what will happen until we actually experience death ourselves. So one of the best way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that we have a good understanding that what's coming in order to prepare ourselves for that. You probably in California, you've seen all these advertisements for earthquake, right? The next one, the big one, may be tomorrow. Buy insurance, prepare yourself, do this. So we don't know when it is, but we know it's coming, so we prepare ourselves somehow. Qiyam is one of those aspects that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, La rayba fih. La ilaha illa ant, layajma'annakum yawm al-qiyamah. There is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and indeed you will be gathered in the Day of Judgment. La rayba fih. There is no doubt. وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَدِيثًا. And Allah said, Who's more truthful than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His word? But to prepare ourselves for that news, Allah gave us a description. That day that they didn't come, all the people who died till this day, they are facing, we call barzakh, the barrier. So Qiyamah is not here. But when you read Quran, there are actually conversations between people of hell and heaven. There are stories of people who are facing Sirat. There are people who are in heaven and talking to the people of hell. So the question, if the heaven and hell is not here yet, how is that possible? How it could have a conversation? And that's what we believe, is to prepare us that although that day is not here, but such conversation are inevitable. They will happen. So make sure you're on the good side of this conversation. So one of the analysis that we started, and again this is the fourth night we talk about, and that's the beauty of Quran, by the way. That sometimes one ayah, one word, we have, mufassirin of Quran, commentators of Quran, that they did a couple of volumes of publication over one chapter, Surah Hamd, only Surah Hamd, and show the depth of it, that we could understand the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that is practical to our lives. So the analysis of Yawmul Hasra, the day of regret, that this will happen, and the Quran says there are people who will regret the decision that they made in this dunya. I personally talk about some of them till tonight. 5 of them we discuss, that we call them the cause of regrets, the factors and decisions that will lead to regret, and understanding it will help us to make better decisions, to make more smarter decision in a matter of our dunya and akhirah, that ultimately preserve the well-being of this life and hereafter. We make a lot of decisions that is good for this life, it could be, but in long term it will not be good. When you ask children, do you like go to school? Do you like study for, a certain test? They will tell you, no, it's painful, I don't like it. In short term, we will not look at it positively. But sometimes making that decision and going through with that difficulty and pain, it leads to better result at the end. But usually people don't get it until years later, when they understand what a great decision they make, or sometimes they regret what a bad decision they made. So the one that we discussed, number 1, was istihza. One of the causes of regrets in life is the concept of istihza. I elaborate on that, so I'm just going to, bullet point wise, we just go through what we said. Number 2, we said making bad decisions, committing sins for others, for children, for family. That will be a regretful decision. For others, I did this. I didn't like it myself. I didn't do it for myself, but I did it for others. And Allah said, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No one will carry the burden of your sins. If you commit a sin, you cannot say, I did it for my neighbor, I did it for somebody else. So that's the second cause of regret. Committing sins, breaking the rules, disobeying Allah for others. Could be family, could be friends, could be anyone. That's here in Islam. If you have a choice, you cannot break it. Sometimes you're forced to do something, means it wasn't in your hand, so you will not be accountable. But let's say people ask this question, we have even in Marajid, this question was asked from them as well. My husband is not okay with hijab. Is it okay if I remove hijab? The answer is very clear, no. If it's an option, if it's a choice, no. You cannot commit a sin because of your husband, and you cannot justify it because my husband didn't like me in hijab, I didn't wear hijab. That's not acceptable. Same thing as toward the husband. I didn't do this because my wife didn't like my beard. That was the reason I get rid of it. It doesn't work that way. If it's halal and haram. Mustahabbat, makruhat, those matters are more, they're not as extreme when it comes to following. But when it comes to the halal and haram, wajib and haram, we cannot negotiate on those matters. So that's number 2. People will regret breaking rules for others. The third one in tradition we talk was when it comes to dunya, the mal, the last night I discussed this. Those who spend and invest what they earn to stop themselves and others from the path of Allah. If our investment and the money we give away, the intention of that is not to serve Allah, is not to help people, is to stop people from getting guidance and direction. And I promise you, there's a lot of investment. There are a lot of think tanks out there to stop people from coming here. There's a revolution, kind of, very subtle, but the moment Muharram starts, in every culture, Farsi speaking, Arabic speaking, Urdu speaking, English not as much because there's so many other distracting topics in America, nobody will even talk about Muharram. But when it comes about these cultures, Muharram is a form of all these people who really crawled to their corners, they wait for Muharram to come. And the moment Muharram starts, they start becoming so logical. Why we spend money for Imam Hussein? Go take care of the orphans. Why you cry for Imam Hussein who died 1400 years ago and instead cry for the people who are being killed right now? So in the last 11 months, where were you? The moment this incident and this event came back, and the whole concept of commemoration of Sayyid al-Shuhada is to revive our heart in order to care for the other madhlumin of the world, is to care for the other oppressed of the world. To understand and to be inspired by Sayyid al-Shuhada, to don't be a bystander and just watch the calamities that are falling upon the humanity, especially Muslims. But there's this systematic form of just creating a skepticism. Should we go to these majalis or not? And they invest money in this. I don't have that, expertise, but there are studies actually done that where are the source of these online propaganda against Muharram. You will be surprised which countries the IPO are from. A lot of Farsi texts are coming from Saudi Arabia. And it is the way it is, and you have to invest. When it comes to, you heard about the election and how our data, people who are on Facebook was sold for organization and, intelligences in order to persuade people to decide and think in a certain way. This is a reality of our time. If you like it or not, this is happening. So there are investment to stop people, لِيَصُدُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, to stop people from the path of God. And this ayah of Quran, Surah Anfal, verse 36, it has a relevant application to our time. It's not just Abu Sufyan who invested in Battle of Badr. No, today their investment. Billions of dollars. We're talking about billions of dollars in different parts of the world, their investment. And they're not conspiracies. Sometimes we talk about conspiracies that according to the opposition, they don't believe the facts are not being shared by both sides. But what I'm saying are realities that they're out there, you can see it. They're being published on daily news here. So that's the third sign of regret. Those who invest to stop people from the path of Allah. Any form of investment. Because the defeat will be with them and they understand that they wasted their money ultimately. The fourth one that I talked about last night as well was companionship. That what form of companionship we choose leads us to regret. In Surah Furqan, Allah says that literally people curse themselves. They're upset that why they chose that person, so on and so forth, as a friend. And ultimately, again, because we have Imam Ali alayhi salam said that your friend, when you are friend with someone, your character steals points from somebody else's character. يَسْرُقُ طَبْعَهُ. It's not that you are doing it intentionally. Unintentionally, you are copying, certain way of thinking, certain way of behavior, even the figure, the way of we talk, our hand gestures, everything is being affected by that. The terminologies that you use is very close to your companions and your friends that you spend time with. And one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that I can't preserve my iman. Doesn't matter what environment I go to. And I've heard this so many times. People say, we have to raise Muslims in the West, that they will be able to maintain their identity even if they are surrounded with sin. You heard this before as well, right? We want our children to be surrounded with sin, but to still do the right thing. And I said, read Quran, Yusuf alayhi salam. The Prophet of God, when he faced a situation of sin, what Quran says he did? What did he do? He faced the sin and he controlled himself, or he ran away. The door was locked, but he ran toward the locked door. Regardless how strong our faith is, if we're constantly exposed to sin, it's a process of eventually breaking down, if you like it or not. That's the reason in the ruling, drinking water from the table that alcohol is being served is haram. So I'm drinking water. They are having beers, they are having wine, I'm just having the water. But according to the fatwa, it's haram to drink water from that table. When you expose yourself to that extreme, to the sin, if you like it or not, is a gradual process of weakening your faith. Maybe the first year, let's say even first 10 years, it doesn't affect you. But after 10 years, the level that you despised as sin will not be at the same level. I know that personally myself. The first time you confront a sin, especially if you knew about it theoretically, you get very upset. But unfortunately, as a Sheikh, I know that after listening to the same problem multiple times, every year I hear about it, the 10th time I hear about the problem, I'm not as shocked as I was. Become normal. It's a new normal. That's what they call it, right? The new normal. So companionship is very important. It's impossible. Again, it is impossible to be companion with faucet and the fist doesn't affect you. The corruption is a process of affection. When you are spending time with somebody, a companion, it could be a husband, a spouse that you choose. It could be, your coworkers. It could be somebody that you invite over your house. Anyone, your cousin, anyone. When you spend time, one of you are more charismatic. One of you have the edge, the advantage. And that person most likely will affect the other side. They will not be maintaining that individuality for a long time. There is a merge happening, either this way or that way. And if you're that sure of yourself, and inshallah, I am that charismatic personality, I have the advantage. Be aware of a lot of people thought the same thing. We had people who were part of the organizers of majalis such as this, and they slipped. And now they are accusing Islam of things that you will be interested, that this person who used to organize and now has these weird kind of form of objections. Where it came from. That's the reason it's important to keep that in mind. Always surround ourselves. If we are forced in our workplace to spend time with people who don't have the same opinion as us, which is understandable, we don't have a choice. Maybe again in other environment and in school, you have to spend time with people who are different. But when it comes to companion, the one that you want to travel with, the one you want to spend time with, the one you have your leisure time spent with, make sure somebody that their iman is going to impact your iman, basically push you forward, make you better. Make you better. So these are some of the causes we discussed. Still, we have to add on to this because I think it's still a lot of, alhamdulillah, when it comes to the Holy Quran and when it comes to Ma'arif and the teaching of Ahlul Bayt, there's so much about hasra, about regret. And usually the hasra is very painful because we cannot change it. It's too late to make any change. That's the reason you call it regret. There's a mistake, okay, I made a mistake yesterday, I'm going to fix it today. But hasra is that something I did yesterday that I cannot have the same opportunity again. That's the reason I'm regretful. And Day of Judgment called Yawm al-Hasra because we cannot come back to this dunya and fix the mistake we made. So what is the next one on the list? I mentioned 5, tonight is the 6th one that we will discuss. The 6th cause of hasra. Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Said, مَجْتَمَعَ فِي مَجْلِسٍ لَمْ يَذْكُرُ اللَّهَ وَلَمْ يَذْكُرُونَ ذَلِكَ الْمَجْلِسِ لَهُمْ حَسْرَةً يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. If you participate in a gathering, in a majlis, in a program, and in that program they're not going to remember Allah, they will not remember us, and another word, remember what we consider values, good. That majlis, that gathering will be the cause of regret in the Day of Judgment. What we mean by that is that any form of gathering that we can do it somehow that we remember Allah. Remember Ahlul Bayt. Alhamdulillah, recently I participated in so many nikah, majalis, even weddings, that they start with the quick dua, with the quick verses of Quran. It's a wedding, but you can't start it with a few verses of Holy Quran. You know, as a birthday, we can have just a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We could. That simply that majlis could have a small glimpse of the remembrance of Allah in it. Remember that the remembrance of Allah, remembrance of the awliya Allah, those who lead us toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Holy Prophet, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, mu'mineen even. That's the reason we have, when you look at the face of a mu'min, that's equivalent of ibadah, worship. Because it's not that we worship Allah only through the prayers. You can worship in so many different forms. When you honor your parents, you can worship Allah in that way. When you work for the sake of providing halal for your family, it's an act of worship. And even when you look at somebody's face who's a mu'min, that's an act of worship. Because when you look at them, who's the mu'min, by the way? Who's the person that when we look at their face, نظر في وجه المؤمن عبادة, when you look at the face of a mu'min as ibadah, they said, who is mu'min? That we look at their face. So the one that when you look at their face, when you see them, they remember you of Allah. There are some people, when you look at them, they don't do anything. But the moment when you look at them, you remember Allah, somehow. And there are people that when you remember them, when you see their face, all you remember is misery. Forget about Allah, it's just misery. Some you look at them, you remember all the evil. You look at their face, you remember all the wrong. So that's the guy. If you're looking for fun, this is the guy. Look at their face, you see it's fun. That's the cause of regret. We have that somebody wrote to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that, Ya ibn Rasulullah, I live in Biladul Kufr, in a non-Muslim country, in a non-Muslim environment. And I'm concerned that because there's not any Muslim around me, there's not that many, or there's no one around me, if I die, what's going to happen to me? Who's going to bury me? What should I do? So he asked, basically consulted with Imam, what should he do? And Imam alayhi salam wrote back to him, said, when you're there, what do you do when you live in that environment? Do you remember us and remember Allah in that environment? And he wrote back, the only reason I'm here is for that, to promote the name of Allah. I'm here to teach people about Allah and you. I'm here to teach people about the truth. That's why I chose to be here. And Imam wrote him back, if that's the reason you live there, if you die, and because his concern was about his death, said if you die, Allah will resurrect you as a ummah. You will be resurrected as one person, as a nation. The purpose you have is so great. We have so many, there are few traditions that they say these people, if they die, when they will be resurrected, they will be mahshur, resurrected as ummah. And one of the Imam Sadiq said is the one who promote the name of Allah and promote our message. So any opportunity we can, we have to. In a most subtle way. There's no need to make it, sometimes it is a program that you're just invited, so you don't want to interfere in the middle of their planning. It will not seem, it's not even permissible to go that. You're not the host, somebody else the host, right? But you can do something with their permission to remember Allah. When it comes to the majlis of sin, you'll be surprised how much people contribute. So there's going to be a party. Oh, I'm going to bring the nachos are with me, right? There's a majlis of sin, the speakers are with me. The music, the music and instrument with me. Everybody's chipping in. When it comes to cause of Allah, please call me when the masjid is open, I'll be there. When everything is ready, we come. It's unfortunate when it comes volunteering for the wrong cause, we have so many volunteers. When it comes for the good cause, the volunteers are not that many. It's very simple. Why? Because one is for the taste and appetite of someone enjoyable, something is not that much. So make sure our majalis be the cause of remembrance of Allah. Even if it's, as I said, a few seconds. Because according to the hadith, if somebody spend the time in the majlis that there is no remembrance of Allah, there is no remembrance of awliya Allah, there will be regret of that majlis. We can teach people about that. Imam Sadiq went to visit his brother outside the city of Medina. Imam Ma'soom, infallible, went outside the city to visit his non-infallible brother. So that should be enough reason to understand importance of maintaining relation. So when he arrived there, somebody heard that Imam is over his brother's house. He came. And imagine you're a guest, you came to visit your brother, and somebody now knock at the door. Says, sorry to bother you, I know you're here to visit your family, but I have a few questions. And Imam said, come forward, come in, tell me. And he said a few things about his faith. He said, I just want to make sure that my aqeedah and my belief is correct. Double checking. Abdul Azim Hassani, which is one of the companions of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, he used to go, he's a narrator of hadith himself. He's somebody that he teaches people. He taught people about Islam himself, but he used to go to Imam Hadi alayhi salam and confirm that what he's teaching and what he knows is correct. So as Islamic studies teacher, be careful. If you're not sure, double check. It's very important to volunteer and teach. There's a lot of value in it. And if somebody asks you a question, it could be another Muslim, or it could be a non-Muslim asking you a question. It's very, very important to answer. You gain a lot of thawab for it, but make sure it's a correct answer. Sometimes you need to double check. And Imam spent time answering his questions. Take advantage of that. Visiting family, but I could teach somebody, even in 1 minute of teaching him something good. And I finish with one more, and I inshallah go to the next one. We have that somebody killed someone's father in the time of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala. So qisas was basically the ruling. So he came to Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein, and said, this man killed my father, and this is a time of qisas. And it's, haqq. According to the narration, he didn't intend to kill. It was eventually caused the death, but he didn't intend to make that happen. But still the ruling was qisas. So we have that Imam Zain al-Abidin ask him, this man, did he do any form of good to you? Does this person have any right over you? Any haqq on you? And he thought, he said, yeah, a while ago he taught me something. He taught me something. I learned about that because of him. And Imam alayhi salam recited that ayah. Man ahyaha faka'annama ahya an-nasa jami'a. If you revive one, if you give life to one, it's like that you revive the entire humanity. The knowledge is a way of revival. He taught you something, forgive him. So Imam advised him, he came for advice. Imam advised him, he listened. By the way, just in parentheses, if you ask for advice and the advice is being given, please follow. People come and say, Sheikh, I want to do istikhara, and I give the description of istikhara, and they still say, okay, do istikhara. I said, your place is not the time that you have to do istikhara. It's not the right position, but do it anyway, Sheikh. So why you ask me the advice at the beginning? So sometimes we ask for advice. Following through is important. So Imam Islam given the advice, and he said, okay, I will forgive him. Instead, I will receive diya, the blood money. Look at Imam even to show the importance of how we can educate, how we can enlighten people, how valuable that is. Imam alayhi salam told the man, said, I will pay your diya to this man. I will pay the blood money, but I will have the thawab and the reward of the time you taught him something. Just do a bit, a transaction. You taught him something, I get the thawab and I will pay the blood money. This is a teaching moment, by the way. The man was financially well off. So he answered, no, I have the deal. I will pay my own, from my own pocket. I want to keep the thawab and the reward I acquired. That's the importance of educating, teaching, guiding people. We need volunteers to educate our younger generation. In Christian communities, there was this system of big brother. Those that they usually live in foster homes, or those who were literally, raising an orphanage. They said, okay, we need somehow somebody who's supervised, a good example, a good role model. So they created this system. They have these, youth clubs, and they said, okay, this person will be the big brother. In Islam, we don't have that, but ultimately the responsibility of every person who has something is to share it with others, older than him or her or younger, to care. Sometimes we're so obsessed to how to just do whatever is necessary for us that we forget that maybe my presence in my community could help one person. A lot of teenagers are struggling with bullying in high schools. In middle school, they're being bullied. And as a sheikh, I know that because sometimes I listen to the stories that they tell me. And a lot of you guys, alhamdulillah, you were born and raised in this country, so you went through some of that yourself. And even if you come and listen to them and maybe tell them, it's going to pass. And after the difficulty, there will be ease. This is the way you have to deal with it. This is, time, if you need, sometimes you needed somebody to talk to, come to me. We can offer that. If you don't have an education, let's say to teach tafsir and Quran, but I can be a support for somebody. And if we can, is a great way of investing for our akhirah. Even if you help one person. The outcome is not in our responsibility. So that's that's number 6, the cause of regret. Is to don't take advantage of the gatherings that we have. Don't spend the time to educate people, to enlighten people, to remember Allah, to remember Ahlul Bayt. And the one that I will, inshallah, finish with that is the number 7. Is the hadith by Amir al-Mu'min Ali ibn Abi Talib, reciting another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The hadith said, كثير الحسرات The one with abundance of regret is al-hasud. Al-hasud kathirul hasarat. The jealous will have lots of regrets. The one who suffers from hasad. And mudha'ifu sayyi'at. Not only they regret, but they will increase in their sins and their mistakes and their wrong. According to this hadith, the 7 cause of hasra, the 7 cause of regret is jealousy. There is a hadith in Nahjul Balagha, there's a statement in Nahjul Balagha by Imam Ali alayhi salam, which is amazing. Imam alayhi salam said, Lillah darra al-hasad, or wayhaka al-hasad. In other words, good job, jealousy. Good job. Jealousy is a flaw of character. But Imam alayhi salam said, good job. Darra, in Arabic it refers to when you want to compliment. Said, ma a'adal, what a just quality you are. Because you caused the person who has the jealousy to suffer first before the person that is jealous of you are jealous of them. So the jealous person is the one suffering. That's the reason you're so just. And hadith said, for the jealous has the least amount of pleasure, the one who's jealous. The most amount of torture is for themselves. And Imam is complimenting this quality, because in backbiting, you're hurting someone else, right? In insulting someone, you are hurting somebody's reputation. But in hasad, in jealousy, you are just burning from within. And we have so many traditions that if somebody is healthy, but they're jealous, they're sick, and they don't know it themselves. What is jealousy? This is a very simple concept. And is, by the way, is one of the oldest flaw of character since the beginning of time. Abel and Cain, right? Habil and Qabil alayhim salam. Alayhi salam, Habil alayhi salam. When the Qabil was jealous of his own brother, right? At that time, even going before that, Shaitan was jealous of Adam's status, right? That was the reason eventually led to the whole disobedience. And Allah in Quran commands us as a commandment. وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Don't wish to have what others have over you. Don't dream of something that others maybe have and you don't have. That Allah gives some quality to someone, a beautiful voice, intelligent, a family that they were born into that you didn't have. Even when it comes to the look, they have some certain way of, zahir and appearance that you don't. Never wish for that. Because what you have is what you need. Because Allah is the just, adil. He gave you what you need. He did not take away anything from you and gave to someone else. They have what they have, you have what you have, and you will be responsible for what you have. So jealousy happens when we comparison, muqayasa. What he has, what she has, what I have. And after the comparison, you come to a point that you wish ill for others. You wish that they lose what they have. That's what jealousy is. Sometimes you compare, so alhamdulillah, this person have what they have, and I don't, and I wish I have the same thing. That's good. That's ghibta. They call it in English, is a very weird language, they call it envious. Right? I'm envy of that person. Envy is negative, but in the place that they use, sometimes it doesn't mean negative. Doesn't have a negative connotation. I envy that person. It means I like to have what they have. You don't pray, you don't wish anything negative or bad for them. You just want to have what they have. You look at, study the life of ulama, so I wish I have that quality. I wish I would have enjoyed the prayers that much. Or they have a good car, good for them. Alhamdulillah, may Allah keep them healthy and happy. I wish to have that joy and happiness myself. That's fine. That's not jealousy. That's not hasad. That's ghibta, which is fine. Jealousy, hadith said, Imam alayhi salam said, so if you want to spot a jealous, when you're happy, they're sad. That's the greatest sign of jealousy. When you have surur, when you are overjoyed, you are suffering the most. And opposite, when you are suffering, they're the happiest person. That's jealousy. And it kills them when they see others happy. That's the seventh sign of regret, because we have that at the end of the day, the one who was jealous, they figure out that what they were jealous of didn't even have the value that they were jealous. Even sometimes we figure out when we're young, we're jealous of someone. As the time, progress, and we start figuring out, oh, this person who seems so beautiful, or he was in the center of the attention, 30 years later, nobody knows their name. They were famous and well known at that time. Why I was jealous of this? Or they were so handsome or beautiful, 50 years later, they're not that handsome anymore. Or they had the dunya, they had the wealth, and now they don't have it. After death, that becomes very clear that none of the things and reasons we were jealous of had the true value. But it is important for us to know that Imam Sadiq said, for everything, لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ آفَةٌ. There's a disease for everything. There's an afat for everything. There's a plague for everything. The plague of religion are three. Afatu dini thalath. There are three plagues, three diseases for religion. Number one, Imam alayhi salam said, al-hasad, jealousy. That you have religion, but you're jealous in it. Oh, that person recited, why I didn't recite? Oh, I worked harder, but he didn't spend that much time and he did better. Why? Why I worked so hard for my children and her children, they don't even come to masjid and they turn out to be better. Jealousy. That's the afat ad-din. Number two, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, al-ujb, self-admiration, egotism. I'm good. I did everything right. Nobody would have done what I've done. They remind you of someone, right? Best of the best, I'm good. That's the afat of deen. Ujb. Because somebody, when they do good, they wake up for Salatul Layl, they go to Muharram, they recite a few verses of Quran, they go to Hajj, they go to Ziyarah, and after a while you said, if heaven is prepared for someone, it should be me. If I'm not the one going to heaven, who's going? I see these peasants, not even went to Hajj once in their lifetime. Do you think they go to heaven? I go. I did everything. Imam Sadiq told his companion, don't consider anyone lower than you. And they said, even the sinner, even the fasiqeen, even the corrupt ones? And Imam said, yes, even them. Because usually you say, oh, that person doesn't pray, they don't fast, they commit some sins. I'm better than them because I do the opposite of those. And Imam ﷺ told them, don't consider yourself even better than a sinner. And they ask, why? Because we're good. We see that we're good and we see that they're bad. And Imam ﷺ said, remember the story of Quran and Prophet Musa ﷺ. When Fir'aun asked for the sorcerers to come forward, Sahirin. At the beginning they came and they asked Fir'aun, they said, okay, if you pay us well, we will defeat Musa. We will give you what you want. They bowed down before him, they admired him, they said everything he wanted in front of people. So they were sinners at the beginning. And on the day of the challenge, which was Musa ﷺ against the sorcerers, at the beginning in the morning, they were sinners, they were misguided, it was very obvious who they are. And who are they supporting? Fir'aun. But the moment the challenges started and they saw Musa alayhi salam's miracle, they dropped all their tools and they said, we believe in the Lord of Musa. We repent of what we did and we are mu'min, amanna. Fir'aun said, I will cut off your hand, I will crucify you. I will cut off your legs unless you come back, you reject Musa. And they said, do whatever you want. We saw this is no trick, this is no sorcery. He is saying the truth. And they were killed. That's the promise of Fir'aun. And Imam Sallallahu said, look at that story. In the morning, there were rejectors, non-believers, sinners, corrupted. At the end of the day, in a matter of few hours, they become shuhada. They became awliya Allah. They became people that Quran talks about them and admire them. And there's a lesson out of this story. That's a possibility of change. And opposite of that is also true, that people, they did so good and they made a mistake at the end. Quran talks about them as well. Munafiqeen, Quran says, at the beginning they had iman, right? First they had iman. The hypocrites at the beginning they had iman, but they lost the iman. But they still pretend that they have iman. That's what nifaq is. So it's always, you could have slipped that way or that way. So never consider yourself better than others. But with religion, ujb sometimes come. That's the reason it's important to sit down in maw'idha, majalis, and listen. To break the ego. To don't let ujb develop. Self-admiration develop. The third one, the last one, the afatuddin, Imam Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, afatuddin al-fakhr. Boasting. When you boast is that you show off. You tell people that you're better. You put them down that they're not as good as you are. The first one is an internal issue. This one is expression. In ujb, you don't express it. It's just within your mind. In your own mind, you think you did good enough. You know, when you want to go for dua kumail, in your mind you're saying, you know, I'm waking up for Salatul Layl. I don't need to go to dua kumail. I gain enough thawab. So it's internally happening in ujb. In fakhr, you express, you boast, you say to others that you're better. In a center, it was a meeting, and I've heard somebody said, who told you to stay in the first line? To someone. I didn't know who that person was. And he continued. So I've been here for 5 years, so this is my place. You just came out of the door and you want to be in the first line? Go back. That's what fakhr is. That you entitle yourself for something. Because of my iman now, because of my deen, I'm entitled to respect. Why you didn't say salam to me? If I come from the door and I expect everybody to stand up before me, everybody say salam alaikum to me, that's what it is. Expectation. And I finish with one more point. Don't provide an environment, don't create an environment of jealousy for others. There are causes of jealousy, but sometimes we are speeding up the process. Number one to do it is to compare. Compare your children with other children, you make them jealous. You create the environment of jealousy. Compare your student to another student, you make them jealous. And that's not a way of tarbiyah either, to say, oh, because you have to be good because your cousin is good. Or what's wrong with you? This person is half of your age and he or she memorized half of Quran. Said in our community, the good kids are the one who are sometimes being despised by other kids because of this. The one that was doing the dua, the one who's reciting Quran, sometimes is being disliked by other kids because that kid is the one who's being used against the other children. The moment they go home, did you look at that child? Did you look at Ali? Did you look at Fatima? How beautiful she recited, he recited. What's wrong with you? Did I not buy everything for you? You don't have everything? And we create that path. And then the good kids has to change being good. I have kids who don't want to do azan anymore because of that. Said, please don't call me. And they're good at it. They said, don't call me again. Because jealousy shows itself, right? They don't like that person to be part of the circle of friends. Talk to them. No. Who created that environment? We did. Never compare your spouse to someone else. Oh, look at that person's husband. We call you a husband, look at him. Right? Look at my sister's husband, that's a husband. Look at my dad. He's handyman, he knows everything, and what's wrong with you? You'd be surprised that people say it in front of me to my face when there's counseling happening. So the problem is there, that's the reason they came to me. They don't come when everything is good, right? And they say it in front of me. Or when it comes to cooking, to the wife, your cooking is not bad by mom. My mom's cooking is something else. Why? I don't know. What we try to prove? I don't know. What we think we achieve from this is absolutely mind-boggling for me, that how is going to fix anything? But we create the environment of jealousy. It's right that sometimes, this issue between in-laws, that you see how much tension, regardless what culture you're from, what ethnicity, background, in-laws always, unfortunately, there's some tensions. And mother-in-law, monster-in-law, whatever, there are names for everything, right? I was surprised to hear that. But why is this tension? Because sometimes the spouse creating that is a competition of attention and love. Because a wife wants attention, a husband wants attention, and if you show that, you care for someone else, it's going to create an environment, and that's true. Sometimes we speed up the process of jealousy. We provide and create an environment of jealousy. If something is good, talk about the action itself. Don't involve other people. My son, you have to be good because you have potential for your own good. That Allah gave you these blessings, this is the way you have to. That's it. We dedicate the program tonight to a teenager, a young man in the day of Ashura. His name is Amr ibn Janada. I spoke of ghibta, that sometimes you wish to have what others have. When you read the Shuhada of Karbala's life, prior to Karbala's event and even during that day, you wish that you were like that. That you were more look like them. That you could have an iman as strong as they had. Let's say salam to Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. It's from far away, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He is closer than us, than our own jugular vein. So our salam to Abu Abdullah Hussein will be conveyed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of us together will say the salam. May Allah inshallah accept our salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين الحسين وعلى. We have that he came forward on the day of Ashura. The narrative said he's 12 years old, 13 years old, he's a teenager. He came to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and said, Ya Sayyidi wa Ya Mawlai, my master, give me the permission, give me the idhn to go to the battle that they are asking for somebody to stand before them. Let me tell them that Hussein is not alone yet. And Imam looked at him, he's a young man. Said, my son, your father went before you and he's one of the shuhada. Your family did your part. Go back to your mother. He said, my mother is the one sending me here. And he told me, don't come back to me. The son of Fatima is asking for a supporter. And you want to sit with me in the tent? Go, my son. And Imam alayhi salam, as I said last night even, Imam didn't accept the permission, didn't grant the permission easily, except with his own son. And he asked again and again until Imam alayhi salam eventually gave him a permission. When he wore the armor wasn't his size. The body is not developed yet. So he came to the battle and now the enemies are looking, who's this child? And the fairness of the battle was, it was 1-1, but in the day of Ashura there was no fairness. As Imam alayhi salam told them that if you have no religion, at least have freedom. Be free at least by soul. Have decency. So he came and stood before the enemy, and it was the way of introducing yourself. Usually they do it with poetry. And this is a poetry you probably heard, is by him, this 12 years old, who said this. Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir. Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir. Sururu fuadi bashirun nadhir. Ali Fatima walida. My master is Hussein. If you don't know who I am, my Amir and master is Hussein, and what a great master to have. Wa ni'mal amir. Sururu fuadi, he's the reason of the joy of my heart. He is the warner, and he's the one who brought the glad tiding to you. If you don't know who he is, Ali and Fatima are his parents. If you know better people than them, show it to me, introduce them to me. Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir. Surur fuadin bashirun nadhir. We have that in that day of battle when he said the poetry, he attacked the enemy. They surrounded him from every corner, this young man, but bravely he is attacking to every side until a moment later, Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam saw that the head of this young man was thrown back to the tent and the camp of Hussein. The mother of the Amr ibn Janada came outside and saw the head of his son, and he said, my son, good job. You proved your iman and you proved to me that you were my son and the son of your father. And he said to the enemy, when we make a sacrifice and a qurbani to Allah, we don't take it back. He threw the head back toward the battlefield, and we have that she picked one of the pillars of the tent, and she started attacking the enemy in the day of Ashura. And Abu Abdullah al-Hussein went toward this woman and said, go back, there is no jihad upon women. You did your part, be patient. go back to the tent. Ya Ibn Rasulullah, Ya Aba Abdullah. In that day when the mother of Abd ibn Janada went to the battlefield, when she saw the head of her son, you were there, you comforted her. You were the one to return that woman, that mother back to the camp. But la yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. When your daughters came to the body of came to your body, ya Aba Abdullah, and instead of comforting her, all of them came around and surrounded her, and by force they separated the body of your daughter from Hussein alayhi salam. They were not able to easily separate the body of the sister of Hussein, daughter of Hussein, from the Abu Abdullah, and they used all the whips that they had in their hand to separate the body. La yawm ka yawmika ya Abu Abdullah. The moment that Zainab said, my brother Hussein, I'm not going by my own intent and will, they're taking me by force. Ya Abu Abdullah, there is no musibah, no tragedy like your musibah. That the moment that the Zainab was leaving the place of your shahada, from one way she's looking at the body of Hussein, the headless body of Hussein. From the other side she's watching how the children and the woman of Abu Abdullah's family are taken as captives. وَأَلَا لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وبارك على محمد وآل محمد وارحم محمدا وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وصل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين